The story begins in a small village in Mexico. Music, where a young boy named Santiago Muñez is playing football with his friends. From childhood, Santiago is extraordinarily talented, and his biggest dream is to one day become a famous football player. But because of poverty, fulfilling that dream was going to be very difficult. One night, Santiago's father, Muñez, comes to him and tells him to pack his things because they are leaving Mexico and going to America. The situation back in Mexico had deteriorated badly. A few other people from their village were also making the same journey. After a long and grueling trip, they finally reach the American border. Now they have to cross it illegally. Everyone begins sprinting across the border as fast as they can. Just then, the border police start heading toward them. In all the chaos and commotion, Santiago's football falls to the ground, but he leaves it behind and runs. 10 years later, Santiago has grown into a young man. He is swimming contentedly in a pool when his father suddenly storms over, shouting at him to hurry up and grab his work gear. This is where we learn that Santiago works as a laborer alongside his father. But despite the grueling work, he still goes to a youth football academy every single day. The moment Santiago arrives at the academy, he changes his clothes and heads out onto the pitch. But the referee stops him, and music says he cannot play without chinoises. Without missing a beat, Santiago fashions a makeshift pair of chinoises from a piece of cardboard, straps them on, and steps onto the field. The moment he is on the pitch, Santiago plays extraordinary football. His dribbling leaves every defender in his wake, and his performance is so stunning that he scores 2 goals entirely on his own. Santiago's contribution wins the match for the team. After the match, when he returns home, his grandmother tells him that Muñez wants to buy a truck so he can start his own business instead of working for others. But Santiago tells her that his heart is simply not in manual labor. His dreams are far bigger than that. That night, he hides his savings inside his shoes, so his father cannot take them. He has actually been saving up for quite some time. His plan is to one day go to England and try out for a football club. A few days later, a football scout named Glenn comes to the academy and watches Santiago's match. Seeing his speed, dribbling, and finishing, Glenn is deeply impressed. After the match, he approaches Santiago and tells him he is a football talent scout. He then asks when Santiago's next match is. Santiago replies that he has a very important match on Saturday. Hearing this, Glenn says he will definitely come to watch, and will also bring along a friend of his, who is a football player's agent. Perhaps he too will see Santiago's talent and be able to help him. That same evening, Santiago goes to a bar to play billiards with a friend. His father is also there, and Santiago tells him everything about Glenn. But instead of encouraging him, his father says that football is just a way of wasting time. He should focus on his work instead of chasing pointless dreams. The next day, Glenn meets his friend and tells him about Santiago. He says he has seen an extremely talented boy who is playing a match on Saturday. If his friend watches the game, he will agree that Santiago can play for one of England's top clubs. His friend agrees and promises he will definitely come to watch the match on Saturday. At last, match day arrives. Before the game, Santiago takes his asthma inhaler. He has asthma, but he has not told anyone. On the other side, Glenn has already arrived at the stadium. He calls his friend because he still hasn't shown up, but his friend lies and says he is stuck in a meeting and cannot make it. Glenn hangs up in frustration. He then settles in to watch Santiago play. Santiago performs brilliantly as always, weaving past defenders with his dribbling and scoring several goals. Glenn is even more impressed than before. After the match, Glenn goes over to Santiago and apologizes that his agent friend could not come, but he promises Santiago that he will do everything he can to get his talent in front of the world. Glenn then goes home and calls the coach at Newcastle United, telling him he has found an exceptionally talented player. He asks for a trial to be arranged. The coach reluctantly agrees and tells Glenn to bring Santiago to England, where he will give him a trial at Newcastle's ground. The moment the call ends, Glenn is overjoyed, and that same day breaks the good news to Santiago, telling him he has just 1 month to arrange a ticket and get to England. But when Santiago's father finds out, he is furious. He tells Glenn to stay away from his son and stop filling his head with useless dreams. His son is never going to England. Santiago is deeply unhappy with his father's attitude. Back home, he counts the money he has hidden in his shoes and finds he is still $400 short of the ticket price. So, Santiago decides he will work with his father during the day and also take a job at a restaurant at night so he can collect the remaining money as quickly as possible. One day when he comes home, a new truck is parked outside. When he checks his shoes for his savings, the money is gone. He immediately understands his father has taken it. Furious, Santiago confronts him and asks why he took the money. His father says he combined it with his own savings to buy the truck so they can start a business. He tells Santiago to let go of the football dream. Filled with anger, Santiago storms off to his room. Around this time, Newcastle United holds a press conference where they introduce their new professional striker, Gavin Harris, to the media. The club signs him because the team's performances this season have been very poor. Back home, Santiago's grandmother quietly gives him the money for the ticket and says, "Go, Santiago, fulfill your dream." Queen Santiago thanks her from the bottom of his heart and, without telling his father, makes his way to England. The moment he arrives, he calls Glenn and tells him his location. Glenn comes to pick him up straight away and tells him he can stay with him until he gets settled. Glenn takes him to his flat. The next morning, Santiago goes for a run. Then he goes to Glenn in the garage where Glenn gives him some money for breakfast. Taking the money makes Santiago feel terrible. After that, Glenn takes him to Newcastle United's training ground, where he speaks to the coach and requests a trial for Santiago. The coach gives him a chance to play in a practice match so he can assess his performance. But the weather that day is dreadful. Heavy rain is pouring down. Santiago has never played football in the rain before and he keeps slipping and can barely play at all. The coach gives him a chance to take a shot, but even then Santiago slips as he tries to strike the ball. After the match, Santiago understands he will not be selected. He is devastated. He tells Glenn he will be going back to America in a few days, but Glenn refuses to give up. He goes to meet the coach at a restaurant and explains that Santiago only failed because he is not used to playing in the rain. He is genuinely an extremely talented player and he should be given the chance to train with the third team for 1 month. The coach finally agrees to give him a month. Glenn comes home and breaks the good news to Santiago, telling him this is his very last chance. From that same day, Santiago begins training with the third team. He works day and night, determined to pass his trial this time and make his dream a reality. A few days later, he has his medical. The nurse, Rose, asks him if he has any difficulty breathing, but Santiago says nothing about his asthma because he fears the club will reject him if they find out. During training, the coach notices that Santiago's dribbling is extraordinary and he beats every player, but he plays a very selfish game and never passes to his teammates. The coach calls him over and explains that football is a team game. Being good on your own is not enough. If you want to win matches, you have to play with your team and pass at the right moment. The next day, Newcastle has a very important match against Chelsea. For Newcastle, winning this match is critical because they need 3 consecutive wins to qualify for the Champions League, the biggest club football tournament in Europe. Santiago is not yet part of the first team, so he watches the match from the stands. When it begins, Newcastle's performance is very weak. Their most expensive player fails to contribute and is substituted off. But before the final whistle, the team manages to score 1 goal and barely wins the match. A few days later, Santiago trains alone for 8 straight hours. The coach sees all of this and is hugely impressed by his dedication. When Santiago checks the list of players who have passed the trial, his name is on it and he has now become part of the club's reserve team. His joy is beyond words. After this, he spends more time with Nurse Rose, and the two begin to get to know each other better, and Santiago finds himself growing fond of her. The following day, the reserve team has a very important match. Before kickoff, Santiago goes to use his asthma inhaler, but it accidentally slips from his grasp, and a player deliberately stamps on it. The inhaler shatters, and Santiago has no choice but to play without it. Without the inhaler, his breathing becomes labored during the match. He is unable to perform properly, and the assistant coach substitutes him off. After the match, the assistant coach comes to him and says he does not have the stamina to play at a higher level and tells him he has been dropped from the team. Hearing this, Santiago is completely shattered. He goes straight to Rose and tells her everything. Rose tells him to join another team, but Santiago says he is exhausted by all of it. He is never going to become a footballer. He hails a taxi and heads to the airport to go back to America. Just at that moment, Newcastle's star striker, Gavin, comes out of his apartment and discovers that someone has removed the tires from his car. He asks a friend to send him a taxi. The same taxi that Gavin's friend sends turns out to be the one carrying Santiago. On the journey, Santiago tells him everything. Gavin decides to help him and goes to the coach, telling him the full truth that Santiago had not played badly on purpose. He has asthma. He only hid his illness out of fear that the club would reject him if they knew. The coach understands and reassures Santiago that asthma is not an illness that needs to end his career. He gives Santiago another chance and brings him back into the reserve team. This time, Santiago's performance is exceptional and he scores goal after goal. One day, Santiago brings Rose back to his apartment where he has been living, alongside football star Gavin. One day he phones home to ask after his father. His little brother answers and says their father is still angry at him and does not want to speak. Hearing this, Santiago is deeply saddened. The next day, Santiago discovers his name has been removed from the team list. He assumes he has been dropped. When he asks the assistant coach, he is told his name was removed because he has been promoted from the reserve team to the first team. And this week, he will be playing his first official match with the first team. Hearing this, Santiago's happiness knows no bounds. On match day, Santiago sits on the substitutees bench. During the match, a Newcastle midfielder gets injured and the coach immediately sends Santiago on in his place. At that very moment in America, his father is sitting in a bar watching television. The moment he sees Santiago on screen wearing a Newcastle jersey, he is stunned. For the first time in his life, he is filled with immense pride. He turns to the people around him and says, "That is my son." The moment Santiago steps onto the pitch, his brilliant dribbling impresses everyone. But as always, he plays a selfish game and refuses to pass. When he approaches the penalty area, an opponent fouls him and Newcastle are awarded a penalty. Gavin converts it and Newcastle win the match. After the game, the coach calls Santiago over and says angrily that if he refuses to pass to his teammates again, he will be dropped. That same night, Gavin takes him to a bar where he meets Zinedine Zidane and Raul, the two biggest stars at Real Madrid at that time. A few days later, when Santiago arrives for training, Glenn is waiting for him. He tells him his grandmother wants to speak with him on the phone. When Santiago talks to her, he learns that his father is no longer in this world. Hearing this, Santiago is completely broken. He immediately heads to the airport and says his goodbyes to Glenn, thanking him from the heart for always believing in his ability. But before boarding the plane, Santiago changes his mind. He turns around and comes back to the training ground. The coach asks him why he has come back. Santiago replies that everything his father ever said has come, music, flooding back to him. His father always stopped him from playing football and tried to crush his spirit. But today, he has made a decision no matter what obstacles come his way. He will fulfill his dream no matter what. His grandmother also tells him on the phone that he has made the right decision. There was no point coming back. He then works even harder than before practicing. Alone on the pitch long into the night, the coach comes to him and says, "Rest a little now because in the next match, you will be part of the first 11. This match is the final between Liverpool and Newcastle. Hearing this, Santiago is overjoyed and immediately goes to tell Glenn, asking him to come to the stadium and watch the match. He also hands back the money Glenn had once given him for breakfast. Finally, match day arrives. Before kickoff, the coach comes to the team and says, "You know what you need to do." Both teams take to the pitch, and today, Santiago is on the verge of fulfilling his dream. The match begins and Santiago plays with tremendous energy. His dribbling leaves defenders behind, and for the first time, instead of playing selfishly, he passes to Gavin. Gavin scores immediately, and all of Newcastle's fans erupt in celebration. But a little while later, Liverpool win a corner, and from it they score to level the match. After that goal, Newcastle's players lose their momentum and Liverpool score another to take the lead. Shortly after, Santiago crosses the ball to Harris, who scores Newcastle's second goal and brings them level again. Now with just 3 minutes left in the match, Gavin pushes forward toward the penalty area. A Liverpool defender fouls him right on the edge of the box. The referee immediately awards Newcastle a free kick. Gavin decides that Santiago will take it. At that very moment, Santiago's grandmother and his little brother are watching him on television. Santiago steps up to take the free kick and strikes such a powerful shot that the ball flies straight into the goal. That magnificent goal wins the match for Newcastle and earns them qualification for the UEFA Champions League. The entire stadium is on its feet, cheering Santiago's name again and again. After the match, Santiago gets a call from his grandmother. She tells him that his father, Muñez, had watched his match on television in his final days before he passed away. Hearing this, Santiago's eyes well up with tears. He dedicates this victory to his father's memory and resolves that he will now go on to win the Champions League. And with that, the second part of the film begins. 3 months later, Santiago is shown again, now with a new car, and married to Rose. The two of them are blissfully happy in their new life. But this is only the beginning. The next day, Glenn tells Santiago that Real Madrid want to sign him. Hearing this, Santiago is overjoyed. The team then travels to Japan, where Santiago and Glenn meet the Real Madrid president. He offers Santiago a contract and tells him the transfer window closes tomorrow. If he does not sign by then, he will not be able to join Real Madrid. Santiago and Glenn sit in a bar to think it over. A little later, Gavin arrives and tells Santiago that every footballer in the world dreams of playing for Real Madrid. But Santiago is torn. His wife Rose might not be prepared to move to Spain. On top of that, he worries that with so many big stars already at Real Madrid, he might end up spending his time on the bench. Around this time, the Real Madrid coach also advises him not to reject the offer. Santiago immediately calls Rose, but she is so busy with her nursing duties at the hospital that she cannot answer. A little while later, Santiago returns to England. At the airport, thousands of Newcastle fans are waiting for him, all begging him not to leave the club. He has become their finest player. He goes straight to the hospital to explain everything to Rose. She is upset that he did not tell her first. He says he tried to call many times, but she was too busy to pick up. He asks her to come with him to Spain. At first she refuses, but after thinking for a while, she says that if this is what makes Santiago happy, she is willing to make that sacrifice for him on one condition: that during holidays, the two of them will always come back to England. Santiago agrees at once. After this, Santiago arrives in Spain, where Real Madrid hold an official press conference for him. There, he tells the media that playing for Real Madrid was his dream since childhood. Watching that same press conference on television at a bar where I works as a Spanish woman named Sofia. The moment she sees Santiago, she is stunned. Her expression tells us she already knows him. But for now, that secret remains hidden. The team trains intensely for the league season. Finally, the day of the UEFA Champions League match arrives. Real Madrid's opponents are Greek club Olympos. Santiago is still not part of the first 11, so he watches from the bench as his team plays. This tournament is enormously important for the club because they have failed to win the Champions League for the past 4 years and are determined to lift the trophy this season. During the match, Gavin squanders several easy chances. The fans grow furious with him. He has not scored in 14 consecutive matches. In the end, the coach substitutes Gavin off and sends Santiago on. The moment he is on the pitch, Santiago plays with full energy and in the very last moments of the match scores a stunning goal. That goal wins the match for Real Madrid. On the other side, the people watching in the bar erupt in celebration. Then Sofia notices her son Leo pickpocketing the crowd. She tells him that stealing is wrong and says that if he loves football so much, he should work hard and one day become a great player like Santiago Muñez. She then tells Leo a great secret. She says that Santiago is my son. After this match, Santiago becomes a favorite of Real Madrid's fans. Sometime later, he buys a beautiful large house in Spain and takes Rose there to see it. Santiago has now left poverty far behind him and has accumulated a great deal of money. The next day, while Santiago is signing autographs for his fans, Leo is also standing in the line calling out to Santiago, repeatedly trying to tell him he is his younger brother. But Santiago does not notice him and walks past without recognizing him. Santiago continues playing for Real Madrid and earning well. He buys a new Lamborghini. One day, while heading to training, Leo suddenly appears in front of him. He tells Santiago he is his brother and shows him a photograph of his mother. In truth, Santiago never saw his mother growing up, so he ignores Leo and drives off. But the photograph of his mother is left behind in the car. When he asks his grandmother about this, she tells him the truth. His mother is alive and he has a younger brother. Santiago is stunned. His father had told him his mother was dead. He makes up his mind to go and meet her. A few days later, Real Madrid prepare for their third match. During the game, Santiago commits a serious foul, and the referee shows him a red card. Furious, Santiago walks straight off the pitch. Now, Real Madrid must finish the rest of the match with only 10 players. Fortunately, Gavin scores a goal, and Real Madrid just barely win. The following day, Santiago is due to fly with the team to Norway. But when he wakes up, he realizes he is late. He blames Rose for not waking him up on time and rushes to the airport, just managing to catch up with the team. But because of his late arrival, the coach punishes him by putting him on the substitute's bench for the match. After the match, Glenn meets Santiago and tells him the coach has fined him a significant sum for breaking discipline. Santiago is furious and takes it out on Glenn, telling him he is not managing things properly. Glenn is deeply hurt by the comment. Without saying a word, he leaves. When Santiago returns home, he finds a message from Rose. She has gone back to England and asks him to come and spend Christmas with her there. Around this time, Gavin comes over and the two of them start kicking a ball around in the garage. During this, Santiago falls off a bicycle and breaks his leg. He is unable to walk for several days. When the coach finds out, he is extremely angry at Santiago's recklessness, and as a punishment refuses to let him go to England for the Christmas holidays. Santiago calls Rose to explain everything, but she thinks he is just making excuses to avoid coming. A misunderstanding develops between them. A few days later, Santiago runs into Leo again and gives him a lift to drop him home and hopefully meet his mother as well. But on the way, Leo seizes his chance and steals Santiago's bag, then runs. When Leo gets home and opens the bag, his mother Sofia catches him. She snatches it from him and tells him to stay away from Santiago. He will never accept that Leo is his brother. Hearing this, Leo is devastated. In his anger and grief, he tears up all the pictures of Santiago he had pinned up in his room. Sometime later, Santiago is out at a bar with friends one night when a security guard tells him Leo has stolen his car and driven off. Santiago runs outside, but by then, Leo is already gone. Santiago tells a taxi driver to chase after him, but not far down the road. Leo has an accident, and Santiago immediately takes him to the hospital. At the hospital, police ask Santiago what happened, but he does not tell them the truth that Leo had stolen his car. He does not want his little brother going to jail. At that same moment, a photographer starts taking pictures of Santiago to use against him. In fury, Santiago attacks the photographer and smashes his camera. Because of this, the police immediately arrest Santiago and take him to jail. From jail, he calls Glenn and asks for help, but Glenn flatly refuses, telling him he is no longer his manager because Santiago insulted him. The next day, Real Madrid officials come and secure Santiago's release. But by then, newspapers have already published photographs of him alongside Leo. When Rose sees the story, she feels Santiago had been hiding everything from her. Over the phone, she tells him their relationship is over. Hearing this, Santiago is completely broken, but he sets his grief aside and throws himself back into training because he has a Champions League semi-final to play against Lyon. In the semi-final, Gavin scores the first goal. His form has improved considerably. A little later, the coach brings Santiago on to give Gavin a rest. In the very last moments of the match, Santiago scores another goal, taking Real Madrid through to the final. After winning the semi-final, Santiago wakes up the next morning to find a crowd of journalists and photographers outside his door, all waiting to interview him. To escape them, he spots a refuse truck nearby, puts on a worker's uniform, gets into the truck alongside the crew, and slips away unnoticed. He then goes to the neighborhood where his mother, Sofia, lives. He shows a boy a photograph of her and asks if he knows her. The boy says he knows where Sofia is, but wants Santiago's watch in exchange. Santiago gives him the watch and gets the address. When Santiago arrives at the location, he comes face to face with his mother, Sofia, for the first time. The moment she sees him, she pulls him into an embrace, and both of them are overwhelmed with emotion. They sit together and Santiago asks her, "Why did you leave me when I was a child?" Sofia tells him everything. She says that when she was living with his father, Muñez, two men attacked her one day, and one of them was Santiago's own uncle. That is why she was forced to leave. She tells him that whenever she tried to make contact with Santiago, his father blocked her and had already told Santiago that his mother was dead. Hearing all of this, Santiago is consumed with sadness. He then tells Sofia that he loves her very much and never wants to lose her again. A little later, Sofia takes him to meet Leo. Both brothers are overjoyed to see each other. They play football together in the street back home. Santiago records a voice message for Rose. He apologizes for his mistakes and hopes she will forgive him and come back to Spain. Finally, the day of the Champions League final arrives. Real Madrid face Arsenal, a very powerful team at that time with a legendary striker like Thierry Henry in their ranks. Early in the match, Arsenal are awarded a penalty and their player converts it. Real Madrid fall a goal behind. At halftime, the coach reprimands Gavin for his weak performance and decides that in the second half, Santiago will also be pushed forward in attack. He tells the team that if they want to win the trophy, they must fight back. No matter what, the second half begins, but Arsenal's pressure intensifies even further. Thierry scores another stunning goal and the score becomes 2-0, 2 goals down. Real Madrid's players start to lose hope. Their performance drops and they concede another penalty to Arsenal. But this time, fortune smiles on Real Madrid and they launch their attack. Santiago passes the ball to Harris and Harris finally scores the first goal. After that goal, the whole team's fighting spirit returns. A little later, Santiago himself scores a magnificent goal and the match is level at 2-2. In the dying moments of the match, Real Madrid win a free kick just outside the penalty area. David Beckham steps up to take it and, with his exceptional technique, curls it directly into the goal. The referee blows the final whistle. Real Madrid win the Champions League final, 3-2. The entire team and all their fans erupt in celebration, and Santiago turns another great childhood dream into reality. And with that beautiful moment, the film comes to an end. That's it for today's recap. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe to Master Recap, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another amazing movie explanation. Let us know in the comments which movie you'd like us to cover next. We'd love to hear your suggestions. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, stay safe.